you are a Light No Fire person or a No Man's Sky person and you're excited about this game, awesome. Me too. It's going to be great. I'm going to be covering the game going forward. And I think in this video today, we'll be having some worthwhile discussions for you. If you're unfamiliar with No Man's Sky and you're like, what the hell is Light No Fire? Well, it is their brand new IP. They've been working on it for 5 years while sort of simultaneously developing No Man's Sky. By the way, the story of No Man's Sky is an amazing one in gaming. It's quite the love letter to the industry, really. And it shows that certain studios can put their nose to the grindstone, get it done, continue working, and make the product they promised. They didn't ask for a single microtransaction for the last 8 years as they've been pumping out quality and quantity updates. A lot of features have been added. The game has improved quite a bit. It's insane. In fact, it's probably my favorite game ever. I love No Man's Sky, but today we're looking at this new trailer. The ambition of the video is to sort of talk about general things, but I will be letting the trailer play in the background as we do that. I do want to just sort of bring up and vocalize some immediate concerns they have, or not concerns, but desires and wants that, ooh, I just gotta have them there, right? You know what I mean? I'm like thinking about all the things that can make this game so great. It will really push it over the edge. I have a lot of different ideas, and I'm just going to kind of let them fire today. So let's start the video. I'm going to let it just sort of start. There's not going to be volume. The video is on loop, so if you miss anything, it will be replaying here. Now, it does start off with sort of a bang there, mostly in the form of these words. Of course, the visuals are amazing, but the first thing it says, multiplayer Earth, okay? Wow. So, No Man's Sky has not the best reputation with multiplayer. In fact, that was one of the main issues at launch. The connectivity of the multiplayer was less than ideal. People were struggling to play with their friends, and it never really improved to the point that we thought it would. It certainly improved, but not necessarily like, what we all dreamed and imagined, especially in a space exploration game. It really makes it hard when you're trying to travel between different planets and you're constantly disconnected and getting kicked out of groups and all of that. However, obviously, to start the video, the first thing they said was multiplayer. That's very indicative that they're confident, that they're feeling ready this time around. They're going to learn from their past mistake, and they're going to improve. This is just a beautiful thing to see in pretty much any capacity, any regard, any context. To see someone stick with something for a long time and finally sort of reach that end goal is beautiful. So I think we should have faith in this company. I think we should give them the benefit of the doubt, I guess is one of the first things I wanted to say. And with that being said, I will. And the multiplayer will be one of the first things that people go and they analyze and they critique. And if it's good, oh my goodness. Even if it just works on a basic level, what an improvement. What a solid foundation to work upon. Given that No Man's Sky got to where it did with such a crumbled and weak and fractured foundation, okay? So if the multiplayer is at least decent, serviceable, and the servers are quick and responsive, and you can see people's interactions and everything is happening, there's not really like huge rubber band moments, that's great. From there, you can go almost anywhere, right? Hello Games can pretty much do anything they want with this game. It is a fantasy game. You can see it just restarted, by the way. So you have access to magical elements and sort of extra, I was going to say extraterrestrial, but you know what I mean, like not normal stuff that we see here on our normal human Earth. And that's cool, because they can pretty much use magic or mystical ancient powers to justify anything that's sort of out of context, out of boundaries. So that's great. I would like to see, I guess where I'm going with this, I would like to see compelling reasons to go and explore with your friends. And you're going to want, I want there to be a real want to have friends and to go and seek out different communities in the game. There are people that enjoy the solo experience. I'm certainly a solo experience person and have been pretty much my whole life. But I'm not going to, I do think it's worth considering a game like this with the technology we have now, going into the year 2024. This is the best game to dive in with people and really sort of believe the world. Like, if more people are around you doing personalized humanistic things and making individual decisions, this is going to help it feel alive, but breathing and organic, right? I want there to be a reason, like, I'm like, hey, I want to grab my friend because my friend has access to certain tools, and if he has access to those tools while I bring perhaps this weapon into the dungeon, well, then maybe we have, he complements my strategy and I complement his strategy with a much better chance. Or maybe there's an inventory management system or something along those lines that requires help from other people if you want to transport large amounts of goods. Say there's different vehicles and carriages that can only be operated by 2 or 3 people, right? Or one person has to steer while the other person protects it, maybe with a boat or something like that. Compelling reasons to band up together and work together. That would be like number 1. It is obviously trying to do that. It seems to be the direction they're going. To what extent they reach is what everyone's sort of waiting to see. And I'm a PvP guy. I'm not going to sit here. I actually already made a video sort of preaching like I really want there to be compelling combat between players and sort of give you that option like, hey, I'm going out into the world, I'm progressing, I'm collecting all these things to get slightly stronger so that my next PvP engage is a little bit easier. And I'm not talking anything profound because I don't want any playstyle to overwhelm and suppress other playstyles. So it shouldn't really give you like huge rewards or any power leveling advantages, right? So yeah, so that's kind of that, just the general connectivity and the banding together and creating groups. I guess on this topic, then guilds, right? Larger groups of players. You have 50 people in a guild, and maybe, there's 7 people online that day, and 2 or 3 of them are off doing some other solo stuff. Well, you got at least 4 solid people. They're like, hey, let's go do a dungeon, right? Stuff like that would be so cool. Again, that's assuming a lot about the game. But that does transition us nicely into the dungeons. Are there going to be real dungeons? That shot there with that ball, the maze ball, that's a good one. That could easily be a dungeon. And for those of you who don't know, if you're not so familiar with certain types of games or MMOs, or you've never really like gone into what people refer to as a dungeon, it's basically like an instance, like it's a smaller area inside of an area. It doesn't always have to be an instance. Like there could be dungeons within the open world. A lot of games are doing that now. But it's basically like, right, a small little area where there's lots of like smaller rooms and things you have to maneuver and figure out in order to get to maybe like the heart or the nexus of it and get the big bad sexy loot at the end, right? You want those big drops or those really hard to obtain rare items, okay? So that would be really exciting. Now, if there are dungeons, well, my brain starts going, well, how much replayability realistically can we get from the dungeons? Unless there is a huge, I would say like, there's a scale of difficulty that they're sort of like immediately launching the game with, right? Like these are the easier dungeons, and maybe there's like an area somewhere on Earth that is to be determined where there's some of the hardest dungeons. Maybe they separate things by territories, and as the game naturally progresses, as players naturally explore the Earth, which I think is going to be the most exciting, novel, cool, like just generally dope part about this game at the beginning. Just like, all right, ready, set, go. And everyone just like runs a direction, you know what I'm saying? Like that midnight that this comes out or the morning this comes out, whatever, people are going to be downloading this as fast as they can. You know what I mean? The person with the fastest internet connection is going to be excited because they're going to be like, yo, I can get into the game first. I'm going to be like the first person to just send it out in a direction. Now, the idea is the Earth is not created yet. It's going to be created as you go into it, assuming everything is working and performing and functioning the way that they're claiming and wanting it to function. So that is just so novel. I hate to use the word twice, but it's just like that is incredibly cool. Trying to think of a good comparison. I can't really think of a good comparison, but I would just say dungeons are an important part of most of these games because they represent a achievable task something you can check off, overcome, and conquer. And you can go to other players, you can be like, hey, I did this, and you can feel a sense of pride. Or maybe you just are informing them, and you're excited that you can inform them of what you saw inside the dungeon. Maybe you can give them some specific personalized advice, right outside the entrance of the dungeon. Or maybe they join your group for a second and you teach them some of the things that you learned. Maybe you can't quite conquer it quite yet, you come back with a better group. But how much replayability? I kind of keep starting ideas and not really finishing them. But how much, once you conquer it, you immediately go back into that dungeon and conquer it again? No, you probably don't want to do that. You probably want to explore more dungeons. Well, are those going to be the same difficulty? And then that sort of brings up the question of how do they gauge the difficulty? If it is a procedurally generated world and there's all these dungeons and things, how do they gauge the difficulty? Maybe like a brand new player starts the game, they walk 5 feet, and the craziest odds ever happen, and there's like a dungeon right in front of them or something, and they try to do it, and they get very deterred from the game because they just get absolutely wrecked, and they're playing solo, and they didn't have any time to get familiar with some of the mechanics and blah 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 blah. Now I think that can be pretty avoided if they're just like, hey, this is generally around, I'm going to say this level, and if you're around this level, you can probably do it. A lot of games work like that. You could go in slightly early if you really know what you're doing, but they recommend you're about level 55 for this or level 60 for that, right? This could be a good approach. In fact, I think it would be really cool kind of just like finding dungeons you're going to have to come back to later on. Like, let's go north, right? You start heading north, you're going for a while, you find some crazy cave inside, there's like a bunch of crazy stuff, you're like, whoa, I am not ready for that. There's a huge monster over there, and I don't even know how to equip my crossbow yet. You know what I'm saying? Or I guess your bows. I guess have we seen crossbows? I don't think we have, just a little side note. But I'm sure those are in the game. So that's a cool, interesting angle to think about, is how that'll all happen. Now, here we are, just right in front of me. I'm looking at the water section. This could be another talking point. How will sailing interact? This is another thing I've been thinking about a lot. How will dragons not invalidate boats and or other vehicles if there are vehicles? What fuel do dragons use to travel? Because obviously, as soon as you get a dragon, you're going to be traveling on that dragon all the time, unless there's some resource cap or there's something you're expending in order to do so. Because why would you slowly walk on foot when you could fly everywhere? I'm a little worried about that. I am. In fact, I kind of hypothesize that fire is directly related to perhaps the dragons. But even just seeing the flash of the bird reminded me, like, well, there's birds. So are they like fire birds that only feel like flying when you light them on fire? No, I'm just kidding. But like, I don't know. It could be some weird mystical energy that ignites the wildlife or something. I don't know. But basically what I'm trying to get at is, like, what is stopping somebody from just, as soon as the first person gets a dragon, they're just like, I'm just going across the world, right? I'm discovering everything as fast as I can. Of course, the size of the world, if it is to scale like Earth, even with a dragon, it's going to take you a long time. But not forever, right? If you think about, like, a helicopter, right? That's not going as fast as an airplane, but I mean, like, you're going. You're gonna get there. I mean, like, I don't want to do any crazy math calculations or anything, but I did see someone pull out the Google Maps, and he tried to estimate, like, well, if your dragon goes this fast and you want to go 3,000 miles, it would take you about this and that. I can't remember any of the specific numbers. I don't want to I don't want to quote his work and or misquote. It was like 2 weeks ago. I actually can't even find the video anymore. So I actually wanted to watch it right before I recorded this, but I couldn't find it. But interesting thought. There's a cool shot with that moon there. What is that? Or is there going to be celestial bodies, right? Is outer space ever going to visit us? Are there going to be things falling from outer space landing onto this planet? Maybe tying in the No Man's Sky lore, things like that. That is an interesting thought bubble, is how will this tie into No Man's Sky, if it does at all? I imagine it will, being that the logos are so similar. That is pretty similar stuff going on. We do sort of see the Atlas sort of break apart the ground at the end. I realized as I was watching this trailer for the first people watching it for the very first time, I didn't really go in depth, being that it's my third video about the game since it was announced, and I'm sort of just kind of, you know, stream of consciously this. But yeah, that last I can't even talk. The last shot, basically, with the red and the gray black earth sort of breaking apart, that to me indicates we have profound, is the word deedle? Like godly beings, and they're going to sort of influence our man. They're going to manifest the destiny for us. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be interesting to see how they do that. And I guess I touched on some of the things that were keeping me up last night, so that's good. And yeah, I guess just with all the different animals you can do, right? We do see some of the flashes. I'm actually going to stop it. No. Got it. All right, so yeah, cool shot. The verticality of this is insane, and just seeing the wing glider looking real good is dope. I don't think the wings are that small. Some people are saying the wings are a little too small. I think they're fine. But this is just a great shot. This, too. Like, yo, the lighting here, awesome. I like the edgy white lighting with the grass, right? I like these blue sort of, what's the word? Incongruent blades. They're sort of a little bit taller. I like the fact that we have a a bunny on top of a bird here, and we got this, you know, our badass character sort of walking up, ready to go. It'll be so cool, like, for, you know, a few of your homies, you got your birds outside the dungeon, you're just like, all right, guys, hop on the birds. That'd be sick, you know what I mean? Got it. So, lighting here looks amazing. These boats, right? What's stopping me from taking this dragon and flying across the river, right? Well, maybe you can fit a lot more supplies in the boats. Now, obviously, the supplies and the carry weight, now, all of that, and the crafting materials you need, those are going to be the factors that keep you tied to the land and keep you tied to these other vehicles and other mechanics. That's important. The gear storage and weight system is going to be super important in crafting in general. Awesome shot here. I like this a lot because we see a river. It's not showing any verticality to the river, though, making me a little worried. But I would imagine if we just have some waterfalls and some, you know, lakes that spill into another smaller lake, right? That'd be so cool. That's just a huge feature that would really make No Man's Sky feel a lot more real if there was just some random occasional water streams and rivers, especially messing with verticality and having water fall down. So that'll be interesting to see if that's in this game. But we can see it looks like 5 people working together to do some hunting. Pretty exciting. Okay, right here. Kind of a weird freeze on that, though, but you can see the crabs, right? You can see homeboy over here is looking a little angry, big purple eyes, so pretty cool. We have the flame sword there. That'll be interesting to see how they do the magic equipments or magic enhancements on the weapons. So yeah, that's just kind of me rambling. I thought I'd just make another video, sort of just let the brain do the thing. And much love, you guys. If you listen to the whole thing, you're a rock star. Like, seriously, thank you so much. You're awesome. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I feel a little bit better. I do have some more things I kind of want to talk about, but I don't want to go too long here. And I'm just so excited for this game, and I do think Hello Games has a lot in store. I feel like they knew what they were doing when they launched the trailer in this exact way. They have experience with this. I don't think they're gonna walk straight into the same mistake again. I'm just curious to see what they do. Here's a great part, right? Ooh, the Goblin NPC over there. He's probably giving quests. He's probably orchestrating things. Curious to see what happens there. Oh, and I guess we'll just end the trailer naturally as the trailer ends. Sorry about that. You can see, though, that looks like the Atlas. And tearing apart the world, right? And here you have cracks in the hand. What I really like about this is it shows that there's going to be terraforming, right? There's going to be land terraforming. Huge chunks of land are going to change. And that, I wonder if that is an instance-based thing, or if it's going to change as we travel through it, or during periods of time the Earth travels, or maybe there's natural disasters and earthquakes and things. No, I'm just kidding, but I don't know. A lot to consider, Anywho, my friends, I am very excited to just keep making content. More magic decks are coming, I swear. I just, this game, just one of a kind, came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting to cover it as much as I did, but here I am. So keep an eye out for those. Until then, stay safe out there, you crazy kids. Don't eat the yellow snow. Somebody spilt their apple juice. And I will see you in Light No Fire, or on the Magic Arena, or on Pokemon Showdown. OU doubles. Maybe hit me up.